and we do that, and we got that fixed. By the way, I think you were in the last time. You were like, what's going on with our?
I didn't like my face.
Whatever, that's all right. But welcome to it. It is the Morning Zoo. Chris here with you. Aaron Doan from Aaron Doan State Farm Insurance joining us this morning. Good morning, and thanks for being a part of the show this morning. Thanks for coming in,
Chris. I'm really glad to be here. I got to tell you, man, I just love when we're getting closer and closer to spring. Man, you can feel the energy. People are like, oh, it's coming. Even though we had a taste of it, right? Like it was a pretty mild winter. But now everybody knows, like, okay, as each day and week goes by, we are getting so close. So the energy's building. It's pretty fun.
Well, even the traffic, we see more traffic, especially here at the radio station. We're able to see Ludington Avenue all day long, and the traffic has increased. Talking with businesses, their bottom line is increasing with the amount of people that are getting out and about. Does that affect insurance in general as well?
Absolutely. I think just from a seasonal standpoint, in not like the bigger cities. So, Chris, if you think about it, man, there's just a lot less people here. I mean, snowbirds, all-time high for sure in our area. And then our seasonal friends that come up from downstate or Ohio, Indiana, or Illinois, those they come up, man, and they have stuff up here. They have cottages and cabins and boats and quads and Jeeps and all sorts of cool stuff.
And looking at our wall, I mean, Australia's listening right now. You can come in and hang out with us they're listening through our apps or our smart devices out there. But you can visit West Michigan anytime. It's a nice place to be, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a great place to be. I mean, this time, man, the next 6 months are just like, I travel pretty extensively.
Yep.
I mean, in some ways all over the world. So it's like, this is a great, great place to live and spend time, man. The lake, the sand, the trees, it's awesome.
I agree. Well, let's dive into our topic this morning, which flexible premiums, flexible protection with this insurance, universal life insurance. And before we even start, just kind of break that down in layman's terms. What is it? And it's not necessarily, because we talk about insurance and it's all over the place for ages and so on and so forth.
For sure.
But this topic this morning can affect any age, right?
With any age can get this.
All
I
right.
mean, it's up to starting up to age 80.
Okay.
Starting. You can have it past 80, but to get it.
Okay.
So it's literally born to age 80, new policy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Because in my mind, I was thinking 18, 21.
No, like babies.
Okay.
This is a huge policy. My kids, all three of my kids had a universal life policy.
Okay. All right.
And they had a limited pay, which is a whole life policy where we're paid for a certain number of years. So I got one of each of them, and I basically just, in a nice way, threatened them to your mom and I paid for these.
Yeah.
These are a gift. You're going to keep these, right?
That's right.
Nod like this.
Yeah. And pay, keep paying on it.
Well,
but the thing is that from what you've told me, even for our younger generation, that doesn't necessarily, they don't take insurance, life insurance, as serious as an older generation, right? But they can throttle up and throttle back as they go, right?
For sure. So here's the deal with universal life. So think about what you have at work. A lot of people go, hey, well, wait, I'm good. I don't need life insurance. I have it at work. But to explain that a little bit deeper before we dive into UL in the universal life is a lot of people have one-time income. So you make $35,000 or $40,000. That is your life. That's it. So after a year, something happens to your family's out of money. Right? So a lot of people need to supplement that with owning their own policy. So State Farm provides different kind of insurance. Term, which is a term of time.
Okay.
Get a lot more death benefit for a low premium.
Okay.
We have whole life. That's permanent coverage until you pass away. Doesn't matter when.
Before I let you go too far,
ahead.
Why would somebody purchase term life insurance?
So they have let's say that they have good income and they have a mortgage and they have, $150,000, $200,000 mortgage. Okay. They need a lot of death benefit and they have kids to replace income and to pay off that mortgage.
Okay. Okay.
So, because sometimes something can happen to the other spouse or significant other, and they can't work. If it was an accident, they might not be able to work and generate the income for the kids and to stay in the house.
So the idea of while you have it, kind of protect yourself or layer up your protection a little bit.
It
right?
is, and so the universal life is exactly kind of what you said. The flexibility of like getting $25,000 or $50,000 of universal life, having that death benefit when you don't have a house, you're not married,
Okay.
don't have kids, and then you can add to the policy, and there's flexibility in the coverage, so you can add it as minimal as 25 grand,
Okay.
and your premium can change. You can let's just say, heaven forbid, you lose your job, and you've had the policy more than 2 years, you might be able to not pay for it for a while until you get your new job. Literally call us and turn it off.
Okay.
You cannot do that with term, and you cannot do that with whole life. So about one out of 5 of our life policies are universal life.
Okay.
And so it's a little bit more complex, but if people just realize there's dials, you can turn the dial for premium, which a lot of people love. Turn the dial down a little bit right now for the next 6 months or a year. Or, hey, I just got a pay raise. I want to turn the dial up, put more money into it, because inside the policy, there's a savings account.
Okay.
And you can use that money. It's your own bank without having to get a loan. And so there's a lot of flexibility, a lot of benefit. A lot of people use this for what they call their fixed income part of their portfolio.
Okay.
So what that means is, when you have a 401k at work, some of it goes into different kinds of investments. Well, this can be your conservative part of your investments.
Okay. When you mention it's that savings side of it, is it more so that you can not have to pay as much in the future? Or are you literally talking about being able to receive some sort of financial benefit back?
It's both.
Okay.
So what's nice is it tries to come up with a premium that's reasonable. Let's say it's $35 a month, right? And so you're paying this premium, but based on your current age, you're 21 years old. Well, your cost of insurance might be $6 a month.
Okay.
So the powerful thing about this is you're putting money away for the future, keeping the policy when you're older and having that money available to pay the premium if you need to. Or, hey, I need $5,000. I need to get this new car right now. I haven't had a job for 6 months. I can't get a loan. Oh, I got that life policy I've had since I was in my 20s. I'm going to use the money from there. And the policy still keeps going. It's not like you're canceling it. You're just taking the account value back out of it.
Interesting. Okay. If you're just joining us, we're talking with Aaron Doan from Aaron Doan State Farm Insurance about universal life insurance. Let me be the devil's advocate for a second. What are people going to say that they've heard, but maybe not true, or that is part of the cautionary tale of this that we want to make sure that they're aware of?
It's great.
Okay.
So for me, I'm really a two-wing approach in what are your needs basis person. So certain people literally have, this kind of income, and they don't need $500,000 per se of term life insurance. So what people sometimes say with a universal life is, well, you're just throwing your money away. You're just putting it into this life policy, and they're charging you all sorts of money for universal life or whole life. Hold on, time out. There's a value, and you're creating an asset, and you're dealing with a really, really strong company in State Farm. Financially, our life insurance company is one of the top 5 strongest financial insurance companies in the country.
Okay. Yeah.
In terms of life insurance. So what happens is you have this asset that you own and can't be taken away from you. If you leave work, change jobs, you might go to a smaller company and they don't even have life insurance. So what we try to explain to people is, yes, you've got life insurance at work. It's usually one time's income. You should supplement that with something you own. So I think that's a big one. The other one is, let's talk about this. I mean, I've got a lot of young people that I know that have got pretty serious illnesses right now. And Chris, a couple of them, they're not going to be able to get life insurance at all. It's that serious.
Yeah.
So we just don't know. If you own your policy, it can't be taken away from you. Once you own it and control it. So here's what sometimes people do on the opposite side, Chris. They do this. So what happens and what if I don't pay into it for an extended period of time? You were asking about what could happen.
Yep.
Well, it could get underfunded, and the universal life policy could crash. So we don't force you per se to pay into it like term and whole life where you have to pay for sure, but you better get started paying again at some point, because otherwise, if you're not paying into it, the policy is not always going to be there.
Do you see lapses like that? Do people
At times.
pause and forget potentially?
A little bit, but we're after them.
Okay.
The nice thing about having a local agent and having an agent like me and my 4 full-time staff is we care. We're going to call you and say, hey, your policy's starting to have some challenges, some issues financially. We know you've reduced the premium a couple times in the past few years. Things have been really tough. Are you in a better place? Can we restart and increase your premium back to where it was? And it's going to go into your account value. When you have a universal life policy, it's going to increase that value. So what people like is they know that there is this asset that they're building. It's their money. They can get to it.
All right. That's good information there. We're talking about universal life insurance. Some rapid fire questions for you. Can you transfer that policy? Is that an option?
No, you're the owner of it.
Okay.
Insured, you can transfer in terms of ownership if something happens or somebody else needs to own it. In other words, you're the parent. You can transfer the ownership into the child's name when you want them to have it and take it over.
Okay. All right. Is there an age limit? You mentioned 80.
80 to start, but no, 120 years old.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so literally you can keep the policy going. You start the policy, and let's say you're a grandparent and want to get you like this idea for this policy for your grandchildren. You can get 3-4 policies. We do that all the time, where all of a sudden, I want to get one of these for every one of my grandchildren. And so you can start from 0 all the way up to age 80.
All right. I'm glad Hudson, the radio dog's not throwing you off.
No, but he's a squeaker, and I'm used to it.
You can.
I can handle squeaking.
We can give him a treat.
He's squeaking because he really likes what I'm talking about.
I bet he does. So this begging strips there.
He's begging.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's begging for the universal life.
For sure. What about, and we talked about cancellation if you don't keep up with your policy. The pause idea, that's an interesting thing, the fluctuation there. I think my last question that comes to mind is there anything that complements universal life insurance that you want to make sure that you have this if you're going to take the universal life insurance route? Does it make sense?
Yeah, I think there's an element of a budget. So let's just say that you had a universal life policy and maybe you've increased it a little bit. You started out with 50, maybe you added another 50. And we haven't talked in a few years. You got married, you bought a house, and now you have a little one. All of a sudden, you really have maybe a much bigger need. Maybe you need $500,000 or more of life insurance. So we're gonna talk about your budget, and maybe what we do is we complement, like to answer your question, you have a universal life and a term policy. You own them both with State Farm.
Okay.
So you own them both, and that helps you have the permanent policy for when you're older and the term wears out. See, what people get really frustrated with at times about the term is at the end of the 20 or 30-year term, it's 3 to 5 times more expensive.
Oh, yeah, that's okay.
And if they still need the coverage, they're really frustrated. So in this scenario, if you think about it, they had, if you will, maybe $100,000 universal life. They added a $400,000 term. The term expires. Hey, they're good. The house is paid off. The kids have moved out of the house. Woohoo! And now we still have the $100,000 universal life policy. Okay. It's still going for the rest of their life, and it's the premium that they were when they were like 21. So it's a win-win. The term expired. They're done paying for it. Kids are off the payroll. They're happy. They still got the universal life policy going.
With universal life insurance, you'd mentioned a moment ago that some of your friends aren't able to get insurance for health issues. Is there? This doesn't apply with universal.
Oh, it does.
It does.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when you go and get your own policy, there is some health requirements. Okay. I mean, you have to, but there can be what's called rated. So if you have certain health things that, oh my gosh, I do have some health things, you still might be able to get a life policy. Okay. And what happens is the life insurance companies give you a little bit of a rating. So it means you pay a little more, like you've had a ticket in your car accident. So when people think of it that way, like, yeah, I have this condition, but it's not right now life or death, but it can get worse, you might still be able to get life insurance.
Okay. All right. Good information there. Anything we missed talking about this morning in regards to this? You laid it out pretty well.
Yeah, I think just more just for the listeners to know that we're not going to pigeonhole you into universal life. You know, I think sometimes there's this feeling like, oh, we get in there, we're going to get sold. Well, no, I don't need to do that. In my career, in my business, and we're in a small town, we're going to talk about the options. I'll be honest. I have whole life. I have universal life. I have term, and I have group life insurance.
Wow. Okay.
So what does your State Farm agent have locally? What does Aaron Doan have?
Yeah.
I got them all, man.
Yeah, that's right.
So it just depends on your needs. But your needs might not be for all of them, and there's reasons for all of them. So again, I kind of like to look at a two-wing approach. Term and a little bit of permanent. It makes sense for 90% of the people.
All right. Very good information. And before we wrap up, you have something on the horizon we're going to be talking about in the future. And that's an event coming up here in April, right?
Yeah, on April 20th at Cornerstone Baptist Church, I'm co-coordinating with Pastor Ryan White, and we're having a great men's event. It's called Every Man a Warrior. And the idea is to really bring men together in a good place to hear encouragement and just trying to work out how to be a good husband and how to be a good dad. And what does that really look like? Because sometimes we don't always have the best role models and the best dads. And even if we do, there's times where all of a sudden we're put in that dad position. We don't know kind of what the heck to do.
Yeah.
Or we're a husband and we're like, men are from Mars and women are from Venus. Well, this is a great place on April 20th for us all to get together in West Michigan at Cornerstone Baptist and hear a couple of great speakers just really encourage guys to get together. It's going to be a really powerful morning. So it's 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. on April 20th at Cornerstone Baptist in their multipurpose room. And we expect somewhere between, around 100, 150 men to be in the room.
All
so
right.
it'll be a great event to have that many guys sitting in one place.
All right, looking forward to that. I know it's on the Fridge Magnet program already, telling people about it, so look for that. And then if they want to find more information for it, I'm sure you're going to put something on your State Farm Facebook page. And such,
Actually,
right?
we have it on the Cornerstone Baptist page on
okay.
Facebook. So if you go to Cornerstone Baptist, you'll be able to find Every Man a Warrior.
Okay.
Now, we don't have the event sign up on everymanawarrior.com, but if you're hearing this and you remember this and you're like, what is it all about? You're listening to this, go to everymanawarrior.com.
Okay, very good information. We'll put that link up there. But as well, we're going to dive more into that.
Yes, we are.
Coming up in early April. So, Aaron, thanks for coming in as always. And if somebody wants to reach out to you from an insurance standpoint, talk about universal life insurance, whole life insurance, term, and others, they can do how?
Yeah, we have all different ways. You can walk into my office. We're a half a mile east of Meyer in Ludington in US 10. We have customers all over the state, Chris. You can call us at 231-757-3115.
All right, sounds good. Thank you for being a part of today's show as well. And it's 8:43 here on Mom FM and Hot Country Hits 99.9. If you missed any part of the segment, you can watch it in its entirety on our Facebook pages, WMOM or Hot Country Hits, and as well our YouTube channel too.